decided to do something a little bit different. But today, we're going to be working on acrylics. Now, acrylic as a whole, it's kind of been thrown into different, it's a word that's thrown around pretty much based on, is it clear, is it plastic? Basically, this is acrylic, and it's about 1/8 inch thick. Not a big deal. Well, that's what we're going to engrave on. One of the things, back in my home, nobody knows whenever I'm engraving or if I'm filming. So today we're going to make a couple of signs and, go from there. Now, there's proper ways to do it, and there's different types of acrylics you cannot use. Now, like I said, acrylics explains a lot of, if it's clear and plastic, you can see through it. Well, this has protective film on it. It is deep acrylic, sometimes called polycarb. There's also Lexan. Now, some of these things, they don't tend to laser engrave very well, much less cut. I know this. I've tried to cut Lexan, and unless I had a stronger laser, that's not going to happen. So we're going to use my CO2 to do this, and we're going to check things out. I'm also going to do a first where we're going to have a camera set up, and we're going to design the signs that I'm going to be doing. And I've already kind of got them already done up. I just got to do some minor tweaks and everything. And I may just go ahead and show you all what it is. I'll be doing everything in light burn. There's no size requirements. There's nothing. And basically, I'm going to be using this to hang up the sign. So we're going to go from there, and I'm going to show you how I do it. So stick around, and today we are this is going to be my actual first sponsored video, and I'm very excited about it because, well, it's sponsored by me. So give a like, follow, share these things as much as possible, and I'll show you what we're going to be doing now. Okay, I haven't figured out how to do the on-screen thing, so we're doing this kind of janky, so bear with me. So one of the things that I've got to decide is what size of square I'm going to do. So I'm just going to throw one up, boom, and as you can tell, it is black. So what I'm going to do down here is let me highlight it, and then I'm going to change it to red. Red is going to be my cut color. So I'll have a setting for that. But before I get too happy on that, I'm going to hit this little deal right over here, and I'm going to add like rounded corners. One for safety, and two because, well, that's actually pretty cool. It shows meaning. It shows everything that we need to do on this. So just zoom in a little bit, and I did like an 1/8 inch round on the corners. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to come back up over here. We're going to go to the ellipse, and then I am going to do kind of a circle. Now, to make basically a full circle or what have you, an even circle, you just hold the shift key and just drag it once you click onto a spot. But we're just going to do that right there, and then we're going to come up to this area up here on the unlock, and then I'm going to make my adjustments. and then I'll put, go over to the text tool and do my verbiage. Come up to the arrow, hit black, and you can kind of see the verbiage. Maybe. Let me scroll in a little bit. But that right there. Now, one of the things that we're going to have to do, because we're doing this on acrylic, you want to see it from, you don't want it to be on the front side. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and we're going to flip it. So when you're engraving it, it will be backwards. Now we can do some other things here. I can select all of them and I can make it all go towards the center. And everything vertically coming right over here is centered. And I could just leave that on like that, but we're not going to do that. Like I said, I've already got this piece already done up. And as you can see, all the corners. Let me change this to a color that we can see. And we probably can't, but trust me, it's there. Once I get everything figured out, I'll go from there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to delete that. And we're going to hit P to bring it back down into the center area. P is a shortcut and it brings it right dead center. Now, there's some other things over here that you could change. Start from user origin. So what user origin for me means, if I put, once I've done all of my checking out and what have you, I will do everything and make sure everything's happy. Just kind of scroll in. I've got my ellipsis where I just hang it over that hook. I did go a little bit oversized on it, not by much, but just enough to be able to get past everything. And especially since I've got this, and I may move these pieces up a little bit. I've got enough material that I can do this. And if I've got to do my tester, matter of fact, let me go ahead and ungroup this, because I got anything that's red is grouped. So we're going to ungroup, and then one of the beautiful things, you'll see that there's probably a red bar. And as long as, well, let me just hit this, ungroup, ungroup. The joys of doing it somewhat live. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring it up a little bit. I'm going to make sure that they're both horizontally perfect as far as alignment is concerned. Now, when you want to minimally adjust something, you hold down the Shift and the Control key, and that will give you little minor adjustments. I know y'all can't see it, but it's there. As you can see, now let me go ahead and get these right there. Now, when you saw me do the green thing there, where everything turned green right there, that grabs everything that it's covered, whether it's partially or wholly covered. So we're going to group that. We're going to come up and group this one as well, and that takes care of everything. So I'm going to flip this around so y'all can see it. engraving, don't startle, recording, don't enter. This is going on outside of my garage door, but I'm not happy with the text per se. So we're going to go through, and this is done in Arial. Texas Tango. Yeah, we're not doing that. That's too big. Angry Birds. I don't know. I kind of like that one. Army, which is your stencils. Yeah, let's do that one. So I'm going to ungroup these since I was doing both of them at the same time. And then we're going to flop it. And now, once I put in the settings for the engrave as well as the cut, we'll be able to do everything. And I'll be showing that here in a moment. Lined up, I've already framed it, and everything looks good. There's a couple of things that I need to do, one of which is to lower the laser head using my measuring stick, and then start the engraving. But we need to do a bunch of other stuff too. So let's go ahead and lower the laser head like so. And now we're pretty much ready. All I have to do is turn on the vent, because we don't want that ugly smoke coming along. I've got it going sufficiently. One of the other things that you need to do is make sure of your order. And for me, doing it as, whatever I'm planning on engraving first, we'll engrave first, and then go from there. And then start on the cut. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, arguably, I could take off that whole plastic, protective plastic, but there's madness to my method on here. Down below if it doesn't come out the way that I want. Now, how I normally clean up on these is basically just using a rag, and that's about the And now we're going to go to time lapse. All right, we're almost done. I want to come back in and get y'all while I'm getting ready to cut this thing. Now this is going a lot slower than I wanted, This is going at the normal gapping that I would do on these is about 0.0027 inches. This is at 0.0017. So it's a little bit slower, but everything will work out. So I'm happy about that. Now, we may have to, depending on my laser tube and how funky it's acting, because right now it's about 100 in here. We may have to run 2 times on the cut. No real big whoop as far as that is concerned, because I can isolate the colors and just run the cut lines. So we're about done with this. We're about halfway through it. And so far this job's only taken about 7:30, 7:40, 7 minutes 40 seconds ish. And that's just doing the actual engraving. And it should be 1 pass for the red. And then here's another safety issue for everybody concerned. Always when you're doing this type of engraving, whether it's on polycarb or acrylic or even wood, you need to be right there while you're engraving, just in case there is a fire. So you can turn it off. You go ahead and apply extinguisher agent to it. It is cheaper to, well, I'm not going to say it's cheaper, but it's better to replace the laser or part of the laser than replace your house or the building that you're working in. Now it's getting ready to cut, so here comes the fun stuff. Now, some of the things that a person may have to be concerned about is the resealing of the cut. And it looks like it's doing all right. Now, I do believe in not doing up too much waste. Now what I'm doing right now, okay, I am going to have to do a second cut. So we are just going to cut that. You're starting to see a little more sparkage in there. That means it's getting through. and it's hitting the metal underneath. So for every blip you're seeing, that means it's doing its job. And sometimes it's better to go ahead and just run it through twice. I like to kind of smooth out the cuts using a lighter after the fact. Kind of clears it out. And there it is. That's what I was looking for. So it was able to cut through all the way. Move this out. Now, cleaning these up, all I'm going to do is just go like that and color it done. But on the front, all you have to do is just find an edge and then pull it back. And there it is. That will go on my door. Now I do the reverse on like acrylic awards and everything, so it's not just this. So yeah, works pretty good. All right, I pulled it off. It looks good. I'm very happy with it. So, or in this case, like so. But it looks real good. Now for the real test. Will it fit? And yes, it does. And if that one fits, that will as well. All right, this has been a fun thing. I hadn't done acrylic on video yet, and plus explaining a lot of the different procedures. Now there's other things that I could do to this, like I could spray paint the back because it is going on a white background. And all you have to do with this spray paint is just scuff it up. I can, color in the letters in the back and see what it does, but the point is known. My family's going to look at it and say, "Hey, what's Dad doing?" Or "What's Rick doing?" "Oh, he's recording." Or "Oh, I'll leave him alone." Or "Oh, he's engraving. Don't startle him." But that was the whole point of this exercise, was to do something to let my family know what was actually going on with me in the garage. I hope it was educational for y'all. Again, for those that have liked and subscribed, I greatly appreciate it. I look forward to the next one. I am doing one on an exhaust fan. Why it's such an important one, I've done shorts on it, but I wanted to do something that was more the reasons as to why. So, you know, we'll go from there on that one, but I'm still working on the script on that one. But again, this is Rick the Huge. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next one.